The Alicia Quarles, welcome back to Jason Alicia. So good to see you.
Great to see you, Jason. You know, I love you. You're always great, positive vibes.
Hey, I try. I try. Hold on,
Yeah.
let me give you an ISO. I try, boo, because in this day and age, man, and as you so eloquently and so authentically have shared with your public, your fans, your friends, your community about being authentic and really just trying to live your best life and be a human, all you
Yeah.
can do is wake up and just spread positivity the best way you can, right?
Amen. Like every day is not easy, but I swear when you spread joy, it just comes back to you.
First of all, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm celebrating. Jason, can you believe it? My second Mother's Day. It's coming up. So I'm doing great.
The kids, Carlo, Hudson, I know I'm fraternal twins. I'm a fraternal twin as
I
well.
didn't know this. Are you
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Are you and your sister very close?
Well, we're me and my brother. We're
Oh,
my
it's brother. Okay. Are
Yeah.
you close?
Oh, we're super close, like super close. And it's interesting because people, I'm sure they ask you about the whole twin thing, right? Like, and
Yes.
even though the babies are still really young, they still exhibit sibling behaviors.
There's that bond. Like the other day, last night actually, I was feeding them. They're in their high chairs, and I see them just looking at each other, just hysterically giggling. Like they just speak their own language. Do you and your brother do that?
We do. And now that we're older, it's also interesting that I know, not that I know how what he's thinking, but I know my brother, and he reveals so much more to me than he does to his own wife or other friends. And I get that. So, and he calls me like it's just I was always the more talkative, more ambitious one. He was more of the subdued, kind of quiet one. So I was always getting him into trouble. But now that we're older, I realize that me having that more dominating, if you will, or
Yeah.
just taking more of a leadership position in that brotherhood, how it's played out and how he comes to me sometimes for that leadership role, even though we're adults.
Are you the older one?
Yeah, I'm 10 minutes older.
There we go. You're the big brother.
But I mean, okay, at 41, became a mother. Incredible career, incredible career. I mean, when we think of people who in this business have just achieved, right? Especially Black women in this business who have achieved. I think about you, Tamron Hall.
Yeah.
Who else? Oprah,
Nichelle.
obviously, Nichelle Turner for sure. Rolanda. I mean, just people and people who aren't even on air anymore still have paved the way and have led and have left or are leaving a lasting legacy of Black excellence. And you are that for sure.
Thank you, Jason. You know what? I'm gonna take my flowers because for so long you're working, and you don't sit there and pat yourself on the back. Hearing you say that is what it's all about. Like if
Yeah.
nothing else in life, if I haven't helped the next generation of young Black journalists and hosts, if I haven't pulled somebody up, then I've very much failed. So I'm so glad to hear that, Jace.
And I mean it. And I mean, you are an Emmy Award winning journalist. And you have, I mean, I'm going GMA3. How incredible is it to be like Alicia Quarles, GMA3 correspondent? That's like goals.
It's
Goals, literally.
and I've got something big. I can't announce it yet. Something very, very big coming up.
Okay. See, you
Yeah,
had to hit me
it's
with
like
that.
it's the next evolution of my career. So GMA has always been so amazing. I'm so grateful to my family there. And you keep evolving, you keep growing, you keep thriving. And I think that's what's fun about being a journalist is that your life could change like that on any given day. You don't know what's going to happen. So it's an exciting career for sure.
Okay, so you hit me with the I can't reveal something big is coming up.
I
I
actually it's
know.
legitimate. I really can't, but
I
I was
believe
able to
it.
pivot from GMA3. I love GMA3. I also, I gotta like promote all my things, all my projects.
Yeah.
So we're just talking like a month, and you're gonna be like, oh, okay.
I'm over the moon for you. That's awesome. I'm just giving you shit,
I know.
but you just hit me with that. But stick around because after the break,
Because I feel like everybody does
something
like, oh, you
really
got something
big.
else.
Yeah, it's great.
But like no, but for reals.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things I love about you, and well, first of all, who you've always been is a girl who keeps it 100. Keeps it
Yeah.
100. Like no chaser. It's just boom, served up straight. And you've been even more of that woman in the last 2 years, just opening up to Tamron Hall, to so many people about your mental health journey. I hate to call it a struggle because I myself am a survivor of clinical depression.
Okay. Okay.
And
I
even
didn't know
now,
that.
Yeah, even now, for the last 20 years, SSRIs, I just got back into therapy. Uh,
Amen.
yeah, and it's been so good for me, especially and as adults in our 40s, just unpacking all the things we've
Yes.
never been able to deal that we just didn't deal with because we were on our grind, because we were trying to get somewhere. Being people of color, we didn't have the
Yep.
luxury of having a moment to just deal. It was like, here's what you're going to do to deal. Get your
Right.
ass up and make it happen.
Go work. Yeah, make it happen.
And that's not the most beneficial or the most healthy way to deal with these things. So now that we have more language, more life experience, more lived experience, we do realize that, hey, I'm fucked up and I need some therapy quick. But you keep on giving from that space. How's that
Well,
for you?
I think it's twofold. So for those that don't know, I had a very public breakdown on Instagram, like a genius, on Instagram Live. And so, that was like at the moment a fall from grace, but then I realized it didn't have to be. So this could actually be a teachable moment. And the reason I came to that conclusion is because when it happened, so many people that you all look up to reached out to me and they told me their own journeys. And then everyday people started telling me their journeys. And with every story somebody would tell me, it made me have strength. It's like, okay, I can do this. And I didn't want anything to happen in vain. And Jason, to your point, as Black people, we are not quitters. So it's like, all right, girl, you better dust yourself off, use this to help somebody else and somebody's else, and tell your story about how you were overworked, exhausted, not taking care of yourself. And it's like, if you get a cut, right? You disinfect it and you put a band-aid on it. Well, what if that happens to your mind and you're not taking care of it? It's going to break. That's really what happened. So now it's just been about taking care of myself, I don't want to say getting my career back on track because I thought this would have really like, oh my God, did this hurt my career? It didn't. So that's been such a blessing. Really, it's just taking my time and the art of saying no. I said yes to everything for so long. I realized there's power in saying no. So the last 2 years, I exercised the power of saying no.
Girl, I remember when that when that happened on Instagram and people texted me too, and they were like, is Alicia okay? I'm like, what do you mean? What's going on? And then, of course, things get sensationalized. People, a game of telephone, people just say whatever. I think I texted you about it, but obviously you didn't respond because you were going through a lot. Or no, you changed your
I
number.
changed my number like a month prior to it.
Yeah, you changed your number. And on the other side of this, watching you talk about it and how this has been such a not a fall from grace. It was what's that saying about sometimes you have to go through a breakdown to arrive at your breakthrough?
It's yeah, there it was it. It's not sometimes you break down, break through. I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah. I saw it as that because I get it.
Yes.
Saying yes, we're people pleasers of sorts, right? And so because we work in a business that we're constantly seeking validation outside of ourselves because we have to be chosen. GMA3 chose you to come on. Daily Mail chose you. E chose you. All these places chose you when you asked for permission to step through the door, and they gave it to you. Okay, great. But what that also sends a message to talent and people in this business, especially non-POC, especially POC, BIPOC people, excuse me, is that we see our worth in occupation.
Mm-hmm.
And also we're hustlers. That's in our lexicon. That's who we are at our core. So of course we're going to say yes to working more because we have a worker's mentality. Of course we're going to do 5 incredible interviews in one day. Why? Because we can. Absolutely. Beyonce, like, yes. What else do you need from me? But
Right.
over time, we forget that we are humans and that that's not sustainable.
Yes.
And it's taxing and it's taxing and it's just fucking nuts. So I am so glad that you shared and when you went on Tamron Hall and talked about the experience and you really went into deep detail about it and then you opened up about your mom, I thought, fuck yeah. Thank you.
I
What everyone shut the fuck up and listen. And one of the most
thank you.
poignant parts about that was like I'm not a criminal. For the way they treated me in incarceration for the time as a pregnant woman,
Yeah.
and they didn't show you grace or comfort or be like, why did this happen to this woman? But she's having a meltdown. She's an angry black woman. She's unstable. She's all these things. Well, ask why is she these things then? What has happened to her to get her to this point?
All right.
Right?
Yeah, I think those are all good points. And then let's be real. I'm working 3 jobs, not getting sleep. And on top of that,
Mhm.
just found out I was pregnant that day and then didn't know it was twins. So if you put on a lack of sleep with a lot of hormones in your body,
Yeah.
just a recipe for a disaster.
Right.
And here's the thing. Yeah, some people were very nasty to me. Fuck them. I only care about the people that were really good to me. And there's been a lot of really good people. So I think another good thing to come out of this is that I cleaned house. I had
Shit.
so many like hangers on and people that, nope, you weren't there for me. I don't deal with you anymore. Like, Jason, you were my friend before, you're my friend now. And that's it. You got a clean house. And I saw how many wonderful, wonderful, I think, the entertainment community gets a very bad rap. Come to find out there's some phenomenal ride or die people that really had my back. Sometimes the microphone at the moment is those negative ones that are the loudest, but I've always outlasted them and I always will.
Yeah. Alicia, great points. It's funny because I'm going through that similarly now.
I didn't
Uh,
realize that.
no, well, I left, when you leave a job and people are used to you being accessible in a way that services them in a medium that's glitzy and glamorous and all the
Right.
things, right? When you leave, you find out, as like you said, who is really rocking with you. And also, I think as we get older, we come to the conclusion of all the people who have just been like hanging around and not
Your
at
energy.
right. And they don't even have to be in your vicinity, just on social media. Or you start thinking about, I'm always reaching out to this person. I'm always celebrating this person. But if I ever hear from this person, it's because I'm making the effort.
Right.
And you're like, all right, cool. They don't owe me anything. I don't owe them anything. They don't have to make the effort. But damn it, why? No, deuces. I wish you the best.
This fourth level of life is just about good energy, good vibes, and protecting your energy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. That's it. It's pretty simple.
Motherhood looks so good on you.
Thank you. I love it.
I mean, can we just talk about the changes that you have seen in yourself since becoming a mother? And again, on the other side of everything that's happened in this journey, what is the brightest realization and the biggest aha moment that's clicked now?
Few things. Obviously, I try to find purpose in my pain. And I was like, why did this breakdown happen? I think one of them was that I got to spend so much time with my mom before she passed.
Yeah.
She came to be with me. I came down to North Carolina and she was with me. She was in the room when I gave birth. She was with my twins and she passed away 2 days before Mother's Day. But I just had to think, I had such peace because I had the time with my mom. That would have never happened otherwise. And so, I try to do she was a phenomenal mom, Linda. So I try to be the mom that she was. And
Yeah.
she'd always say, Alicia, I think she was worried that I wouldn't be patient, but I'm so patient with them. I love them. And I know God gave me two because my mom was my best friend. So I have two that like fill my heart. I love them. They're hilarious. My son is like having triplets. He's like off the chain. And my daughter's like a little tiny doll. She's just sweet. And it's just, who would have known that Alicia Quarles would love being a mom, but I love it.
You were a woman of color on TV in a time when there was only less than a handful,
Yes.
right? Well, okay, a handful. You, Oprah, Sean Robinson,
Sean.
Nichelle,
Yeah.
Gail.
Yeah.
Who? I mean, like
Yeah.
on
Elton, and
main,
that was it. Yeah.
right? On mainstream, major network television, and I've been watching you for well close to 20 years now. Yeah, what I mean, like yeah, like well, I always round up at least over 16 years now.
At least 16. I was at the AP for 10 years, but 5 of that I was on air. So at least
Yeah,
15, 16.
but you were in the realm of being visible enough where people like me who were aspiring to do what you do could see and be like, okay, all right, hey, she's holding it down. You said something big's coming, but what's the next evolution of your career as a journalist? Like, where are you like kind of like, hey,
I can talk about that a little bit.
oh, hello,
Okay. Like next evolution is, to also be able to, how do I say that thing? To also be able to control the content, right?
Hmm.
Like, what does that look like? Yeah, you've been in front of the camera, you've done all that. I started my career, like I said, at the AP, where I was the global lifestyles and entertainment editor.
Mhm.
I haven't controlled the content since then. What does it look like now to come back and be the boss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's smart. And I think a lot of talent is our generation grew up on the coveted job, the coveted position,
Right.
getting in the chair.
Right.
And when you finally land at those places like GMA3, not saying GMA, saying like akin to GMA3, Entertainment Tonight, and you
Yes.
realize that getting in the chair isn't all that it's cracked up to be. And it comes with a whole litany of other, I'll say, struggles now that
Right.
you have to either that will push you to your limits
Yeah.
and hopefully you'll survive,
Yeah.
or will break you and you will exit stage left.
Yeah, and I do think, look, there is power in that chair, so I'm not giving that up.
Yeah.
There's complete power in that, but it's also, I'm 42 years old. What else do you want in life? You've been in this chair for a long time. You need to pass the mic to the younger generation. That's my pet peeve in this industry.
Mhm.
People that hang on to their positions for 17,000 years, pass the mic. So I'm not giving up my on-air positions. I want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
But perhaps I'm, making some change, we're just evolving. We're evolving.